Hello there, I'm Big Alias, and I have good news, everyone. That was awful. That was a terrible impression. Man, I love Futurama, but I really can't do the Farnsworth impression, or the Fry impression. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Does Billy West do Farnsworth? Or does he do Crack... I can't make that joke. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Big Alias. I'm going to be talking about some stuff in this video, stuff that I'm really excited about, coming full circle from where this channel started, which was with this game that I want to talk about now, and I'm teasing around the edges. I mean, there's so much negativity on this channel. It's so great to be talking about something that's good, and I've been hyping this up for so long. I mean, I know I talked positively about Modern Warfare, however, I'm having a bit of a falling out with Modern Warfare right now, but I'm so happy about this and so much more sort of optimistic about this. And obviously, you know, it's Halo Reach. Reach has come to the MCC. The MCC being, I mean, you know, it's my favorite game. Unofficially, Halo Master Chief Collection is my favorite game ever made. Officially, you know, obviously it can't be because it's a remaster, but Halo 3 is my favorite game. But to take Halo 3 and make it 60 FPS and 4K is just, it's the greatest multiplayer experience ever. IMO, in my opinion. But you know, I want to talk about Reach in the Master Chief Collection, which has just happened. It's just landed. If you have the Game Pass like I do, then you get it for free. And if you don't have the Game Pass, I think it's still only like £5.50 or £6 or something. It's really not very much, and in case you can't tell, it's definitely worth it. But the reason I'm so excited is not just because of Reach. It's everything that's come in the update has just it's really tremendous. But firstly, I will talk about Reach, because obviously, you know, if I'm going to talk about it, then I think people would like to know what I think. You know, you might be considering purchasing it and you don't have the Game Pass, or you want to know whether or not to jump back into MCC and stuff like that, which you absolutely should. Reach, for me, originally when it came out, I mean, I know it was the game that I kicked this channel off. When it first came out, I loved it to death. I really did. I thought it was fantastic. But over time, you know, some of the cracks began to emerge and stuff like that. For me, on paper, Reach was, at the time, unbelievably phenomenal. I mean, stupendously incredible as a game. It had so much. I think to this day, it's still one of the most feature-rich games of all time. The polish on things like the menus and what they did, you know, the leap that they took from 3 to Reach graphically, it was just incredible. It really blew me away. And it was beautiful, and the soundtrack was tremendous, and the story was great, and the characters were great, and the multiplayer suite was huge. But the problem is, all of that stuff is kind of on paper stuff, and stuff that, you know, can be quantified and things like that. But there were issues beyond the surface that stopped it from being. And this is going to sound weird, but it didn't feel like the game that it should have been, and the game that it was sort of trying to be to an extent. It felt like almost like an emulation of the game that it should have been. And that's for a few reasons. I mean, the first is, you know, I had a problem. Okay, so there were a few things I didn't like about the game, and my first big issue was, you know, things like armor abilities, and there's one thing that actually has carried over to here as well, which is that I just felt as though a lot of the time I wasn't actually playing Reach, and there was so much customization that went into the base playlists. You know, like you're either playing Griffball or Dino Blasters or Shotty Snipers, and that's fun when I choose it. But sometimes I just want Team Slay, you know, and all of the maps eventually were just Forge maps. I mean, almost every map I played on was just a Forge map. And, you know, those were slight issues which aren't game breaking and don't really ruin the experience entirely. But there were a couple that were really the foundation of why I think the game, I'm not going to say missed the mark, but didn't feel as though it should, didn't feel the way that it should have. And my first issue back then was that graphically, I mean, it looked beautiful graphically, but it felt as though it's kind of like what I said about Breakout with back in the Black Ops 4 video, where it feels like a 4:3 image stretched to 16:9, and obviously it's not as bad as that. It actually looked better then than Blackout did in 2018. It came out in 2010, and it still has better graphics, but it felt as though if the engine couldn't cope, the engine really couldn't cope with what it was doing, and it felt quite messy at times. Like the environments, though they were beautiful, didn't feel as though they were generating properly. The guns look gorgeous, but again, it felt as though, I don't know, like sluggy in a way, and kind of janky on the edges, and it felt as though quite a few corners were cut when it came to things like that. And at times it was even almost, like blurry, low resolution at times, and you could almost feel those that corner cutting with a lot of the stuff that was going on. And so you had like this gorgeous image, but it just wasn't polished, it wasn't sharpened, it wasn't like cleaned up. That, I think that's the best term for it. It didn't feel clean. It didn't feel like a very clean Halo experience or gaming experience overall. And I think there was a lot of that going on at the time. I could say the same for GTA 4, and then with GTA 5 that completely flips on its head, and it's a very clean and gorgeous looking game, but it just felt very busy. That has been completely fixed, completely eradicated with the MCC Reach. So if you're worried about that, then fear no more. It's clean, it's sharp and crisp, and it looks exactly how it should have back then. The 4K, I play on an Xbox One X with a 4K TV, and it looks stunning. Even by today's standards, the graphics are gorgeous. They still kind of blew me away, and the lighting's beautiful, and obviously the colors have been improved, and it's just that much sharper and crisper, and it really does look as though you're looking at the image that was in the head of Frank O'Connor and Kiki Wolfkill. God, I can't say names. It really felt as though you're actually playing their vision, and you're playing what they wanted you to play in this 4K remaster. Like there are no corners cut. There's no blurring of the edges. It's just straight up Reach. It's just the world of Reach as you wanted to see it. And my second issue is kind of related. In that this game should have been 60 FPS. When it came out, it really would have benefited so much from being 60 FPS. It is just a game designed around being 60 FPS. When it comes to gameplay, CNADA said it best back in the day, back in 2010 when he first played it, and he said there's a rhythm to Reach, and I absolutely agree. You may not like the armor abilities and stuff like that, and I think that's one of the reasons that armor lock is such an annoyance, because it breaks your rhythm. It forces you to stop or to find a way to not have to stop. And I think there definitely is a rhythm to it, especially with the DMR, having to pace your shots and stuff like that, and sprint, knowing where to go and how to get there. So 60 FPS would have been, it's always so beneficial to those more rhythmic shooters, and it just really would have helped the experience so much with Reach. And unfortunately, I think back in the day, with it being 30 FPS and with the engine feeling as though it can't cope under its own weight, it just led to a kind of janky, clunky experience that didn't, wherever I was, I didn't feel as though I should be there. And again, that's completely fixed. This is 60 FPS, and with Master Chief Collection, it proves the point that we need a 60 FPS with this game. The game is so much more manageable, so much more controllable. You feel as though you really actually do have control over that rhythm, over the gameplay, and the gameplay excels because of it. It is so much more fun. It actually makes the experience more fun, feeling as though you have control over the situation and what you're able to do, because it is 60 FPS and it's smooth. And it's just the whole flow of the game feels so much better. Again, especially when it's twinned with those, new up-res 4K graphics. The whole world just feels better. The whole experience just feels better. And the moment where, this really clicked for me was when I did the first mission and I landed. And I don't know if you saw, a few months back, I made a Reach video where I did the same mission. And I remember landing in Reach back in the day. A lot of people have been saying it feels like it did back then. For me, it doesn't. Even back then, it felt kind of clunky and a bit weird. But I think it feels better now than it did, than I did when I played it back then. But when I landed initially for the first time, I remember I thought it was great and I thought the world was beautiful, but it didn't feel as immersive as, any of the previous Halo games, and at the time stuff like Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1. It just didn't feel as immersive as that. Whereas with this, because the graphics have been improved so much, because the frame rate is what it should be, it felt completely different. The world felt as though I should be there. It didn't feel as though it's hanging on a knife edge. It felt robust and like landing on that planet felt right. And so overall, I mean, those are the two big fixes that they made with Reach. Other than that, you still get your firefight and custom games and stuff like that. So it is the full Reach experience, only better. So yes, if you do want, if you felt the same way about Reach, then absolutely give this a try, because it's Reach fixed. It's Reach how it should have been. So I'm very happy about Reach. I'm ecstatic about Reach. It is great, and I'm having a really good time in the multiplayer, and it comes with all the DLC too, which is fantastic. Wink wink, Activision, you pricks. But it's not the biggest thing that I'm excited about on Master Chief Collection. See, Master Chief Collection is the game I played more than any other game this generation. I played so much Master Chief Collection, and it would be 5 times more, at least 5 times more. It would be my main game. It would be almost all I play if I had something to come away with after each game. The Master Chief Collection has a ranking system, and it's broken. I mean, it's completely fucked. You have rank mode and you have social games. The problem with rank mode is that it always had this Halo 3, and I think it was the same with Halo 2, ranking system where, you win a game, you go up a level, you lose 2 or 3, you go down a level, but then if you keep losing, then you keep going down, and eventually you'll just go down every time you lose a match. And if you win one match, then you go up. But then when you keep going up, and the higher level you get, the more wins you have to get in a row in order to level up. And that's okay. I mean, it kind of is this, the knee-jerk reaction is to go, well, that's great because that's an actual skill-based rank. This guy has to win in order to level up. Unfortunately, all that tells people is not how skillful you are, but how lucky you've been with what teammates you've been matched up with. I mean, it's supposed to eradicate the idea that, you just play loads and you get a high rank. Well, in actuality, it's just like, well, I had some great teams, or I've got some friends that I match up with all the time. It's no indication of your actual skill. But also, with 3, it worked. I mean, it was a little annoying, but it still worked, because when you have a system like that, as I said, it's based on who you're matched up with. Bungie had a tremendous matchmaking system, which was fair and robust, and it really worked. 343 don't. I mean, their matchmaking system is it's awful. It could be the worst I've ever seen. It is so bad. And so when you go into the ranked game knowing that if you keep losing, you not only will you not level up, you'll lose rank. You could play a whole night. You could play 5 or 6 hours and actually go down a level. And when you know that it's because of your teammates and because of who you've been matched up with, that completely de-incentivizes you to play in that ranked mode. Ultimately, what happened was that they had ranked mode previously for a few years, and then they had that big update last year. People jumped back in, giving it a chance, thinking that they fixed the matchmaking system. They hadn't. It died within about a month. Ranked mode is completely dead. Master Chief Collection is one of the biggest games on the Xbox One. You can find a game at any time of the day, and for a 5-year-old game, that's phenomenally impressive. However, unfortunately, you can't find a ranked game. Nobody plays it. It's completely, the whole ranked system on Master Chief Collection is dead because it doesn't work. It's an algorithm that didn't work. And so obviously I play in social games because, I mean, sometimes I will play 10 games and I would be first place in all of the games, every single game. And I suck at Halo, I know that. But I would be first place in every single game, and I would still lose every single game, and it just felt bad. I mean, it felt terrible. And so ultimately, I played in social games, and see, that's the problem with Master Chief Collection was that I personally, and I know a lot of other people do, I feel as though I want to come away from a game knowing that I've developed and that I've leveled up and that I have something to goddamn show for 5 or 6 hours of gameplay. And yes, it's fun, and yes, that's great. But when you do nothing in 5 hours, essentially, you just sit there clicking buttons, and then you have nothing to show for it. I don't know, man. I like a lot of people, I'm not okay with that. And unfortunately, that's kind of where it was. I mean, I invented my own kind of ranking system in that there's an achievement for getting 500 wins and then incrementing achievements leading up to that. And I would pin whatever my highest win count was on my profile. But once I reach 500, then that's completely gone and out of the window. And I do have that achievement for 500 wins. So it just doesn't work, and unfortunately, so I didn't really play nearly as much as I would if it had a proper ranking system. And I played a ton, but it would have been even more if I knew that I was coming away with something. Well, here's the amazing news. They have finally, after 5 years of development, they have finally implemented a proper XP ranking system. It's the Reach system. You play games, you get XP, you level up, you get more if you do well, you get less if you don't do as well. That is it. That's it. And then you have a rank next to your name. It would be cool if it was more obvious, but that's a small caveat. You get a rank next to your name, and that is it. That's the ranking system. Every single game I go into, and here's the best part, in any playlist, it could be CE, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be Reach, it could be 2 Anniversary, if anyone fucking played that shit. Every playlist I go into, I earn XP, I come away with something, I level up. Thank you, people, for finally for giving me what I wanted, for giving everybody what they wanted, a proper ranking system, and that is so great. It means, there's a level of addiction to this game that I have not seen in a long time. I've not been able to stop playing. I'm so addicted to leveling up because it's a game that I love, and I still love playing it. And it's also a game where if I jump in, I have the potential for 6 different although to be honest I tick off 2 Anniversary and 4, but there's still 4 different engines that I can play in. 5 now, 5 different engines that I can play in. So it never gets old, it never gets boring, and I can level up and I can rank up, and that is so fantastic. The only problem is, and this is why this is a video that I'm going to have to come back to, because this is either going to be the only game that I need ever play. Obviously, it's not going to be that way, but a game that I lose hundreds and thousands of hours to, or not. And that's based on one thing. I don't know the future of this game right now because they have a season mode. We're going to modernize our ranking system. I hate that term, and I hated it with Modern Warfare when I was, watching all of the videos about Modern Warfare leading up to it, when they would say, we're modernizing our ranking system and we're going to have this season mode. That's why I stopped playing Modern Warfare, because again, when I play, I have to come away with something, and if my rank is going to get reset for the sake of you bundling in new shit for me to buy, I don't care. It's a huge waste of time. There's no point, and I will feel as though I'm coming away from it with nothing again. And now, see, here's the problem with the Reach update. The one big, huge problem that's going to be looming over the head until Season 2. The way that you get stuff for your Reach character, you can customize your character properly for the first time on Master Chief Collection in 5 years. However, the way you unlock things is you have tiers. You have a list of things that you can unlock. But you can only unlock one thing that is predetermined. So level 1, you get 1 point, 1 customization point for every rank you go up. You get a point. So for the first one, you can unlock the first thing, and then you get to unlock the next thing, which again is predetermined. When you level up and you get another customization point, then you get to number 3, which again is predetermined, and you have to unlock 2 in order to get to 3, and then you have to unlock 3 in order to get to 4, like a list of things that you have to go through, and there's 100. I'm not too fast. Obviously, I'd rather the original Reach system. The big issue with that, though, unfortunately for me, is that once we've hit all 100, and you have to level up in order to unlock these tiers. Once we get to 100, how am I then expected to unlock things from Season 2 by leveling up? Probably by resetting ranks, and that's what worries me. That completely eradicates all of the shit that I was so excited about, all of the stuff that I, like having this one rank that runs across all of the playlists and that I can hold on to, or having, something that I can come away with once I've played the game. Is it all going to be a huge waste of time? And is everything going to be reset? And is it going to be all armor based? Oh, look, I've got this armor that you'll look at for 3 seconds before I pummel you or shoot you. Half of a second, you'll see my armor. Is it worth it? It's absolutely fucking not worth it at all. Of course it's not worth it. I want a rank, and I hate this era that we've been going through for the past few years, where it's hide the rank, keep the rank away from people, and then have it based on what they have and what they've unlocked by spending money, honestly. And there's two parts to that, the less cynical and the more cynical. It's either, are they hiding the rank so that we don't just focus on people's rank because it's not skill based, or, and I think the more likely reason, do we hide their rank so that their rank essentially becomes the armor that they have to then buy? But the thing is, Master Chief Collection doesn't have any microtransactions, so what's the fucking point? I mean, hopefully either they're not going to reset the rank and they're just going to expect me to work harder and to get to higher levels and unlock things, which I'm absolutely fine with, because I don't really care too much about armor customization, or they're just going to go back in it and go, yeah, fuck it, let's just have a different system. Anyway, though, overall, I mean, regardless of all of that, you do still have Reach, and it is still beautiful, and it runs in the way that Reach always should have. And I mean, if you aren't like me and you don't care about coming away from your games with something, then you do have 6 suites, man. I think it's even more than actually, because you can seven suites of multiplayer to go through, that you can just completely keep swapping between. I mean, you can jump into a playlist or jump into a night of gaming and then go from 1 to 3 to 4 to Reach to 2 to Anniversary. I mean, you can all over the place. It's still a phenomenal, incredible game, and I'm not being paid to talk about this. It's just, I'm so blown away by Master Chief Collection and what it's become, and of course with the campaigns you can have ODST too. So I mean, it's so great. I am really excited about this update, and even if I don't get a stronger hold on the multiplayer experience, I'm gonna have a great time running through Reach again, getting all of the achievements again, which is super fun because I did it on the 360, and it's just so great. I mean, so I would definitely recommend it. It is, yeah, absolutely. If you have Master Chief Collection and you don't have Game Pass, it is worth the money. If you ask me, I personally think it is, but I also think that maybe you should just go for Game Pass and get it for a month and play Reach that way, but that's just me. Anyway, so let me know what you think in the comment section below, if you have played it or if you want to play it, and I guess I will see everybody outside of a spaceship that is exploding, and then I can use my pack that saves me. These are Reach spoilers. I guess I'll see everybody